So at this time of year, we're what, 3 weeks away from it being next year. Um, this is the sort of time of year where people, apart from deciding what they're going to buy for Christmas, people are sort of thinking, oh, maybe I should start making some New Year resolutions soon. If you're thinking of making New Year resolutions, my one piece of advice to you is simply this. Don't bother making New Year resolutions. They are, in the main, a complete waste of time. And in fact, they're even counterproductive and harmful to us. Wait a minute, Keith. You're a coach. Aren't you supposed to be getting people to improve themselves and make resolutions so they get better? Well, frankly, no. No, and I'll explain why. You see, studies have shown that when people make New Year resolutions, 92% of those they fail to keep over the course of the next 12 months. 92% of resolutions that are made are broken in less than a year. Why would I be encouraging people to do something when there's only an 8% chance of success? It's ridiculous. If that were not bad enough, it gets even worse, because think about it. When we set up resolutions year after year and we break them year after year, think what we're doing for our mind. We are training our mind. And we're not training it in a very helpful way. We are training our mind basically to learn the lesson that we decide to do something and we just don't bother achieving it. So that's what we do. We're gonna achieve this. Actually, no, we won't bother. So we decide we're going to achieve something and we don't bother achieving it. That's what we're training our mind to do. How is that going to help any of us to grow and develop? We're setting ourselves up for failure, and we're setting ourselves up to diminish the chances of us actually succeeding in things that we want to succeed in. So why do so many New Year resolutions fail? And what can we do if we want to make some? Good questions. I'm glad you asked, because that's what I'm going to cover in the next few minutes. So first, let's take a look at why the vast majority of New Year resolutions fail. One of the biggest reasons is that we don't actually make them for ourselves. Think about why do we make New Year resolutions? Because I want to get better. No. The reason you make New Year resolutions is, well, it's New Year, isn't it? It's what you do. It's New Year, time to make some New Year resolutions. Or somebody will ask you, your mates or families, or someone will ask you, hey, you made any New Year resolutions? What resolutions are you going to do this year? You haven't made any yet. Come on, make some. We make these resolutions not out of a deep-seated drive and desire to become better people. We make these resolutions because society tells us we're supposed to make these resolutions on a completely random, arbitrary point in the calendar. Or we make these resolutions out of peer pressure. We're making these because we're supposed to. We're not making them because it's driven from within. When you seek to make any change, there will be occasions where it gets difficult. It gets hard. Things conspire against us. When our desire to make that change comes from within, we have the drive to push through whatever holds us back. But if we're only making this change because society says we're supposed to, where's your drive? What's going to keep you going? You're not really invested in it. So of course, when the going gets tough, you're going to give up because you were never really invested in it in the first place. Another reason resolutions fail is because we just make them too big. Now, there's nothing wrong with big, hairy, audacious goals, apart from the name. It's a stupid name, but there we go. There's nothing wrong with having grand goals, big visions, huge goals. I mean, look back the beginning of the 60s when JFK announced that he was setting America the goal of going to the moon, landing people on the moon, and returning them back successfully to Earth within that decade. No doubt about it, that was a massive goal. It was a huge goal. However, the key is it was achievable. And we can tell it was achievable because they did it. But it was achievable. If he'd said in 1960, hey, we're going to land man on the moon and get them back next year, that would have been a big goal, completely unachievable. He gave a very tight but realistic time frame for it. When we make big goals, very often we'll create huge goals which are just frankly unrealistic. Hey, I'm going to win the London Marathon next year. if you're an existing marathon runner who runs marathons more weeks than not, you've got a chance. If you're like me and your idea of a nice evening is spending it on the sofa rather than out running, not a chance of winning the London Marathon next year. So yes, create big goals. Maybe, hey, I'm gonna run the London Marathon within the next 2 years, and I'm gonna start off by doing couch to 5K, and then I'm gonna do weekly park runs, and then I'm gonna and build it up so that in 2 years' time I can run the marathon. Yes, a good goal, but don't create goals that are too massive that you've got no chance at all. Create big ones by all means, but make it achievable. And the biggest reason, another big reason they fail is just because we don't really want to do them. Think about it. If you wanted to make a change, and it was really important to you to make this change because it was going to enable you to do so much with your life, it's going to enable you so much for your family, for your loved ones. It was really important to you. There's a burning desire within. You have to make this change. You have to do this thing. But I'm not going to start for another few weeks. I'm going to wait until a random date on the calendar. Would you do that? No, you wouldn't. If you wanted to make that change, you would do it now. You would go, you know what? I want to do this. I have to do this. I need to do this. I have a burning desire to do this. Screw it. I'm doing it now. You would start right now. The fact that we go, yeah, I suppose I might quit smoking come New Year. You're not invested in it. So of course it's not going to work. If you do want to make changes, what are some ways you can do it that will give you the greatest chance of success? Because that's what it's all about, giving yourself the greatest chance of success. Well, first of all, get really clear on what it is you want to do and why you want to do it. Why do you want to make this change? Why do you want to learn this new language? Why do you want to quit that habit? Why do you want to take up this new pastime? Whatever it is, why do you want to do it? What's driving you from within? And get really crystal clear about why you want to do it, the benefits of doing it. Because, as I said, there will be times where you get challenged. There will be times where it hurts to go through making this change. If you take up running, for example, it's easy to do when it's a nice warm sunny evening. It's rather harder to get motivated to put those running shoes on when it's pouring rain outside, it's freezing cold, howling wind. You need to make sure that the pain of not achieving the goal is greater than any temporary pain you're going to encounter along the way. So get really clear about what's driving you. Kind of stick to just one thing. Another reason we fail to make keep our new year resolutions is you go, right, I'm going to quit smoking and I'm going to get healthy and I'm going to get fit and I'm going to spend less money and I'm going to do this and 10 things. You can't go in 10 directions at once. Pick one thing, focus on that until you've got that going. Then you can bring another one in later. Pick one thing, make sure it's for you, make sure you want to do it. Stick at it. And make sure it's something that is real achievable. And above all, start now. Don't wait until society says, hey, you should make changes now. Start now, because if you're not bursting at the seams to start right now, if you haven't got that level of enthusiasm right at the start, it's obviously not that important to you. So don't waste your time with it. Find something else more important to do. That's why New Year resolutions, in the main, are a waste of time. They're harmful. They don't work. If you want to make change, go for it. But do it now. Don't wait until a random date in the diary. Thank you.